Welcome back to War Birds, the channel where history's most powerful weapons and machines of war take center stage. Today, we revisit a moment that changed the course of history forever, a moment when mankind unlocked the most destructive force ever used in warfare. We're talking about the American atomic bomb, code-named Little Boy, dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. The story begins in the depths of World War II. By mid-1945, the conflict in Europe had ended with Germany's surrender, but the war in the Pacific raged on. Japan remained defiant, unwilling to surrender despite massive losses and devastating air raids. The United States sought a way to end the war swiftly, without the enormous casualties expected from a ground invasion of the Japanese mainland. That search led to the most secret project of the war, the Manhattan Project. This massive undertaking brought together the world's greatest scientific minds to develop a weapon unlike anything seen before, a nuclear bomb. The result was two designs: a plutonium implosion bomb, later called Fat Man, and a uranium-based gun-type bomb, known as Little Boy. The uranium bomb was simpler in design, though extremely costly to produce, as it required vast amounts of enriched uranium-235. Little Boy measured about 10 feet in length, weighed over 9,000 pounds, and carried an explosive yield equivalent to roughly 15,000 tons of TNT. Now, let's go to the morning of August 6, 1945. The American B-29 Superfortress bomber, Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets, took off from the island of Tinian in the Pacific. On board was the weapon that would make history, Little Boy. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb bay doors opened as the aircraft soared above Hiroshima, a bustling city of over 300,000 people. In that moment, Colonel Tibbets and his crew released the world's first atomic bomb used in combat. As Little Boy fell, it took 43 seconds to descend before detonating at an altitude of about 1,900 feet. And then, history shattered. A blinding flash brighter than the sun erupted across the sky. A fireball reached thousands of degrees Celsius, instantly vaporizing everything at ground zero. The shockwave tore through the city, flattening buildings for miles. The intense heat ignited fires that would rage uncontrollably. Within seconds, Hiroshima was transformed into a hellscape. The mushroom cloud rose more than 40,000 feet into the air, a haunting image that would come to symbolize nuclear destruction. The immediate blast and firestorm killed tens of thousands instantly. By the end of that day, an estimated 70,000 people were dead. In the weeks and months that followed, radiation sickness claimed many more lives, bringing the death toll to over 140,000. From the ground, survivors, later called hibakusha, described scenes of unimaginable horror. Shadows of human beings were burned into stone walls. Rivers filled with people desperately seeking relief from burns. Entire families were lost in an instant. Hiroshima was no longer a city, it was a wasteland. The bombing of Hiroshima sent shockwaves far beyond Japan. 3 days later, a second atomic bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki, causing additional devastation. These two strikes forced Japan's surrender on August 15, 1945, effectively ending World War II. For the United States and its allies, the bombings were seen as a necessary measure to avoid a costly invasion. For the world, they opened a terrifying new chapter, the nuclear age. The legacy of Little Boy is complex. On one hand, it ended the deadliest war in human history. On the other, it unleashed a weapon of such catastrophic power that nations have lived in fear of its use ever since. The atomic bomb not only reshaped warfare, it reshaped politics, diplomacy, and humanity's understanding of its own destructive capabilities. Today, Hiroshima stands as both a rebuilt city and a living memorial. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial, also known as the Atomic Bomb Dome, remains as a stark reminder of what happened that August morning. Each year, people from around the world gather there to reflect, to mourn, and to hope that nuclear weapons are never used again. So what do we take from the story of Little Boy? It is more than just a tale of military technology. It is a lesson about the choices we make with the power we hold. The atomic bomb showed humanity its ability to destroy itself, and with that knowledge comes a responsibility never to forget. Here on War Birds, we often speak of weapons, machines, and strategies of war. But today's story reminds us that behind every weapon are human lives, millions of them. And the legacy of Little Boy is a reminder that war, while sometimes waged in the name of peace, leaves scars that echo for generations. Ladies and gentlemen, That concludes today's feature on the first atomic bomb, Little Boy. A weapon that ended one war, but also began an age of fear and caution that still shapes our world. Thank you for watching Warbirds. If you found this story powerful and worth remembering, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the machines and moments that changed history. Until next time, this is Warbirds, signing off.